Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Nadia and this is Yasmin, and today we're going to be talking about how to stop your inner critic, also known as negative self-talk, so that you can live a more happy and less stressed lifestyle. Because what you say to yourself is honestly so impactful on the way that you live your life. Your inner critic can rob you of opportunities, joy, happiness, and it affects all areas of our lives, from careers to relationships. So today we're going to be taking you through 5 steps to stop your inner critic. So firstly, let's just get really clear on what your inner critic or your negative self-talk is. So these are the words or thoughts you think about yourself that are counterproductive and critical, and that make you feel really demotivated or bad about yourself. For most of us, it can hold us captive, stop us moving forward, feel extreme feelings of guilt and shame, and just send us down a negative spiral. So here are our 5 steps to stop negative self-talk. So the first thing to do is to decide to stop your negative self-talk. So what I like to do when I try and change a habit is to really understand and think about what negative impacts this habit has on my life. So for example, negative self-talk can impact joy, it impacts self-confidence, self-esteem, you know, how you feel about yourself. And having low self-esteem or low confidence can have so many effects on all areas of our lives in such a negative way, and just make us really unhappy and unmotivated. So when we really sit down and see what negative effects this habit is having on our lives, it's a lot easier to find the motivation and really decide that no, this is something I really want to change, and actually have more of a chance of changing that habit. So the next step in changing this habit is to become aware and observe the thoughts and words that you're saying to yourself instead of just reacting to them. The best way to do this is to slow down, become still and observe. So what you can actually do is start to write down the negative or the critical words and thoughts you think to yourself every time you think them. And what happens when you do this is you actually notice that you say the same. Once you do it for a certain period of time, you notice that you say the same critical things over and over again, and becoming aware of that same repetitive critical voice that keeps coming up helps you see what belief or what you specifically have to work on. The third step is to disidentify with your thoughts. So once you have decided that you want to stop your negative self-talk, and that you are now in a state of more awareness and observing those thoughts, when you do have a thought, learn to disidentify with that thought. And what this basically means is to realize that you are not your thought, and because you're having a thought does not mean that it's truth. I actually want to add here that something that's really effective is to say to your inner critic when it speaks to you, or you have those inner critical thoughts, is you are not me. If you keep saying you are not me, it helps you create that distance and be the observer rather than the inner critic. Because basically, just because you are thinking something, it doesn't mean that it's truth. Because a lot of what we think and believe have just been planted into our minds from our schools, society, our friends, our parents. The inner voices that we hear have often just been internalized from the outside world. As we grow up, we learn to take on other people's worries and fears, and we actually learn to fear and worry what we've seen around us, and a lot of the time they're not even our own worries and fears. We've just learned and developed them ourselves. So what we mean when we say disidentify with your thoughts is really question its truth. And if it doesn't feel good, don't take it as truth. So now that you've challenged the truth of your inner critic, step 4 is to rewrite the thought. So this is a 2-stage process. So firstly, we want to find evidence to show that it is untrue, or what we're believing is untrue. Because at the end of the day, your inner critic can't argue with solid evidence. So find an example to show that what you're believing isn't true. For example, if your inner critic is telling you that you're not very smart, find an example in your life where you maybe achieved a great result in an exam, or you got a degree, or you've done something that shows your inner critic that you do have intelligence and you are smart. At the end of the day, your inner critic cannot argue with solid evidence, so find the evidence to support that your inner critic is lying to you. The second part of this is to change that negative self-talk into something positive. For example, rather than saying I'm not smart, change it to I am smart, I am intelligent, and keep repeating that to yourself. So this leads us to our 5th step, which is to make that counter argument, for example, I am smart, into an affirmation. Keep repeating this affirmation over and over again. Every time your negative self-talk comes up, then just replace that negative self-talk with the positive affirmation. So say I am smart, and keep repeating this and repeating this and repeating this until it gets through to your subconscious mind and it becomes a foundational belief. So we also have a bonus tip for you, which is when you are trying to make changes or improvements, come from a place of self-love instead of self-hate. Because a lot of us, when we are trying to make changes in our lives, what we actually say to ourselves is I want to change myself. And if you want to change yourself, then the likelihood is that you're really criticizing yourself. yourself. For example, if you want to make improvements to your body, instead of coming from a place of, I hate my body, I need to change it, come from a place of, you know, I'm so grateful for my body and what it does for me, but I want to make improvements to it. I want to make it healthier, and I want to make it nourished and flourish and thrive. So what this does is it helps you to form a more compassionate and loving relationship with yourself instead of coming from a place of hate. You really want to talk to yourself in a loving way and accept yourself. Talk to yourself how you would your best friend or your loved one. The whole idea is to accept yourself completely as you are, no matter the good, the bad, the right, wrong, flaws, whatever. Just be really kind to yourself. A great tool to actually help you with this and to embrace all aspects of yourself is doing shadow work, and we have a video on how to do shadow work which we'll link below. Okay guys, so that's our 5 steps to stop your negative self-talk and a bonus tip. And if you enjoyed, please like, comment or subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye!